This is Thank You Mama, weekly lessons from mothers all around the world. Hi and welcome to Thank You Mama. My name is Anna Teider. My guest today is Jessica Ashley. Jessica is a new mother and a new host of a podcast called Stay Calm Mom. Jessica has a background in corporate finance and in real estate, and is currently standing at a big turning point in her life, going through a divorce, starting a new business, being a mom of how old is he, Jessica?
Almost two.
Almost two. So hello, Jessica, and welcome.
Hi, thank you so much for having me, Anna. It's a pleasure to be here.
Will you please tell us more about yourself and about your work and about Stay Calm Mom? I'm curious to learn about that.
Yes, I'm so excited to talk to you about it. So Stay Calm Mom is a project that is really near and dear to my heart. It was born out of sort of the craziness that went on this year and everything that I saw within the mothering community. I felt that there was a real need out there. I saw a lot of mothers really break down this year and feel like with the added pressures, in addition to our daily lives, with all those added pressures that happened this year, it was just sort of like, meltdown after meltdown. And I saw a lot of women saying they just don't feel like they're really succeeding or doing well or winning in any part of their lives. And I felt that I wanted to create a source and a resource for women's empowerment and somewhere where mothers can gain knowledge and gain inspiration and gain connection so that we will be able to better manage our lives, better manage all of our priorities, and not only be a better mother, but really be the best version of ourselves. So I decided this year to launch Stay Calm Mom, and I love it so much. It's really one of my biggest passions in life. The Stay Calm Mom podcast has just aired recently, this past Saturday, since I'm talking to you, Anna. Mm-hmm. And I've really, really enjoyed speaking with so many fabulous guests and mothers and learning from them, because this project is really also a way for me to learn as a new mother. My son is almost 2 years old, and I'm still learning, how to be the best version of myself and how to be the best version of myself for him as a mother as well.
And Jessica, you went through a divorce or initiated a divorce when he was a newborn.
Yes.
That must have been extremely courageous. It must be extremely hard to make that decision.
Well, thank you. It was very, very difficult. And it was one that at the time I felt like I needed to explain to a lot of people why I was making those choices to end my long-term marriage when my son was just an infant. But really, I knew it was in the best interest of me and my son for our well-being, for our overall well-being, for our physical well-being. I had been in a very long-term marriage, over a decade long. I got married at only 18 years old, and really the marriage was so tumultuous from the beginning. Unfortunately, my ex-husband has some issues with addiction, and it really impacted every aspect of my life. And for the last 10 years, I really felt that I had gotten away from myself and I had sort of lost my identity along the way. And there was a lot that went on. Of course, when you're dealing with anyone who has any sort of addiction issues, at times there are things like abuse that comes up, things like that. And so mentally, I had really become a different person. And the last couple of years has been really one of growth for me and rediscovering myself. So about 2 years ago, my son was just about a month old when I decided to really leave the relationship and physically left and didn't really return. And ever since then, it's really been a process of healing. I went through therapy and I learned a lot about myself. And one of the biggest things that happened was just really processing everything that had happened over the last decade and really deciding who I was. And right now, when I'm speaking to you, I feel like Jessica, but for the last decade, I really didn't feel that way. So it's really an interesting thing. Before I was married, I had a degree in audio engineering and I was studying journalism. So really this project in a way has been a way for me to continue healing. I don't want to say finish healing, but it does feel like in a way of a finishing of healing of everything I've been going through the last couple of years of finding myself again, really coming back to my passions in life.
Jessica, this is so beautiful because it very organically connects what was your mom's role in this process? I'm
Uh-huh.
curious.
No, my mom has been my supporter my entire life. My mom is one of the biggest influences on me as a person and on the direction of my life. She has been like my cheerleader, really, my entire life. And especially as a new mom, my mom has been probably the most important person in my life. She has helped me so much with my son and been there for me. Of course, my other family members have my father, my boyfriend, my sisters, aunts, uncles, cousins, everyone, friends, and family. But my mother has really been there in a way that's unique and special. And I think that's how we all are as mothers. There's nothing we wouldn't do for our kids. And my mom is really a great example of that. She would do anything for me, anything for my sisters, no matter what it is. And she's the type of person that she'll give you the shirt off your back, no matter who you are. She's just very, very genuine, very giving, and she gives of herself 110%. So I'm so, so fortunate, especially over this journey of becoming a single mother and growing and learning. She has really been there for me and taught me every step of the way. I've called her through all the breakdowns. I talked to her all the time, especially when I was, newly divorced or starting the divorce process when my son was just an infant. The first month after I left, it was really in and out of hotels and visiting my mom and sort of gaining the strength to make a final decision to really make a change in my life for the well-being of me and my son. And then after that as well, she was the one who I really turned to and leaned on emotionally for support. So I'd be talking to my mom back in those early days, and all of a sudden I'd break down crying, just dealing with everything I was dealing with. And she was the one who was there to really pick up the pieces of everything that was going on with me. So I really appreciate everything she's always done for me.
Jessica, let's introduce her. We didn't introduce her yet. So her name is Donna.
Yes. My mom's name is Donna.
Yeah.
She is
from Boston.
Yes. So I was born and raised a little bit north of Boston. So we're from, I would say Andover is the town outside of Boston that we're from, but we've moved around a lot. And my mom moved around a lot growing up as well. So we're not really from a specific place, but I guess the Boston area. So my mom's name is Donna. And I was actually born on her birthday, which was a really unique, special thing.
And Jessica, did I write it down well that you went to 13 different schools? That's how much you moved.
Yes, I've counted a number of times. 13 was the amount that I was able to calculate to. I think it was that many. I'm trying to think if it was more. It was so many times. Sometimes we moved multiple times within the same school district and didn't even move schools. So the amount of moving that went on was really unique. My parents are entrepreneurs, and my mom is really behind that. She just has a really strong entrepreneurial spirit. I think that's from her father. So her father was also an entrepreneur, started many different businesses, and they moved around a lot as a kid as well. So she sort of had that background. And one of the things I think that it teaches you when you have a lot of changes in life is how to be resilient. So she is really good at being resilient. She's really unstoppable. She'll move mountains when she wants to. And it's something that everyone who comes in contact with her can see about her. She will make something happen when she wants to. So her resilience is just really something I aspire to. So we went through so many changes, so many moves, but I think in the end of the day, it made us stronger, and it connects me and my mom because we went through the same sort of experiences with that.
She also got married early. She was also 19 and she had 3 children.
Yes. So we've lived very similar lives, I would say.
And when did she get divorced?
So I want to say, I'm trying to think of when the process started and when the actual divorce was. I think it's around 5 or 6 years ago that they got divorced. So they got married when she was 18. My father was 20. And they took some time just in the relationship themselves before having children. I think I took about 7 years to come along. And finally, I came along. Then my 2 sisters came along too. My younger sister is 1.5 years younger than me. And then my youngest sister is 5 years younger than me. And then my parents, they were married for, I believe, 30 years. And they just divorced 5 or 6 years ago.
And then mom did the awesome thing, or was that must have been before the divorce. When did she enroll college with you?
Yes.
I've lost in time. Tell me that story. I love that story.
Yes. Oh my gosh. So many unique experiences I've been through with my mother. One of the most unique experiences was when she followed me to college. So she didn't just follow me. She enrolled in college. She enrolled in my classes. She really actually followed me to college. And it was always a joke in life when I was a kid. Apparently, they used to joke about this that, oh, you're going to follow your children on your honeymoon. You're going to follow them on to college, to school. She is so attached to us. So it turned out to be when I started college, I was trying to decide what I'm going to do. And it's sort of a long story about how I ended up at the school I ended up to. But eventually I enrolled at a local college near our town that was at the time up in the Lakes region of New Hampshire. And my mom had started college years and years ago, but she had never finished. So in touring all of the different colleges with me, trying to find out what I wanted to do, she got inspired to finish her degree and find out what does she really want to do in life, because she has been a stay-at-home mom for this almost the whole 30 years. She's really been a stay-at-home mom. So I think she wanted to find out what she has a passion again for. And so eventually she had toured I think it was a graphic design and a printing program at the college. And she loved the machines and printing and creating. She's such a creative person. So she enrolled in the college program there to learn about printing presses and learn about graphic design. And it was awesome because I got to take some classes with my mom on campus.
That's so fun. Did you guys live together?
Well, I lived at home at the time.
Yeah.
So
okay,
what
so
we
you
did
lived at
was
home.
it was about 1 year we went to school together. Then I transferred. So for that year, it was such a unique and special time. I got so many nice bonding moments and memories with her. So what we would do is we lived in a beautiful area up in northern New Hampshire in the mountains. So it was gorgeous. The views were beautiful. And we would drive from our house over to the college both ways with each other. We would commute. And then I would take a class. She would take a class. Then we usually had 1 or 2 classes a day together. I think it was 1 class a day that we would have together. So we would meet up in the class. And college is great because you're so much older. People are more mature. So I wasn't too concerned about people's opinions about me going to school with my mother. But of course, I thought that their reaction would be like, why is your mother in the class here? But amazingly, the friends I had made thought it was so cool. All my girlfriends were like, wow, your mom is so great. She would go to lunch with us. It was wonderful. And then usually what we would do would be me and my mom would go to lunch together, just ourselves. And so there was a lot of bonding moments to go through. We also took some classes online together, and that was also a unique experience. So we started taking some online classes together, and my sisters were both in middle school and high school at the time. So I was just home with my mom taking some online classes. So what we would do is we would go get into some trouble. We would, because our classes were online. So we would do things like my mom would say to me, do you want to drive to New York today? And I'd say, yeah. So we would drive to New York City for the day. We'd leave in the morning. We'd drive to New York City. We'd go explore. We'd go get some lunch at some of our favorite spots. We'd usually look up an off-Broadway show to go to. And we had this great trip. And usually we'd drive back at night. And just the drives were so much fun, with music and snacks. So, I mean, it was such a unique experience.
Playing rookie with mom.
It was so much fun. And, all of my experiences with my mother have really been like that. I mean, so many memories. It's really just been me and her all this time doing all these really fun, amazing things because she's so adventurous and she's really so daring. So, I mean, she's a blast to be with. I love her.
Jessica, she then created a new profession out of her college degree, and she became a book author for children's books.
Yes, she did. She found her passion in life. She always loved children. She loves children. She was a nanny for most of her life when she wasn't being a full-time mom with us at home. And she was always so creative. She used to create things like blocks and puzzles made out of wood for kids and paint them herself and all these beautiful creative pieces of art. And they were always centralized around children. She just loves children. So after she worked on her degree, she found that she loves writing, and she started writing a series of children's books. She actually has several series of children's books, but she just released the first book ever published. And I'm actually a character in it. I'm a bunny.
What does it mean, the first book ever published?
Well, she has a lot of unpublished works that are still in the process of publishing because she's really a perfectionist in a lot of ways. So I keep telling her, I was like, Mom, your artwork is beautiful because she illustrates the books and she writes the stories. So she has a book series about our family dog Madison, and she has multiple books on it with beautiful illustrations. And she's waiting to release it until it's really just right. So she's still working on it, but she finally released one of her first books. So it's now published, and I play a character in it in the children's book, and my little sister is also a character in it. So it's called Sister Bunny and Little Callie.
Oh, cute.
And the theme of her children's books is really about kindness. So I think that really represents her well in life, her message overall, and especially why she loves working with children and helping educate children is to bring this message about kindness out there to people. And she thinks the younger you start spreading how important being kind is to children, the more impact you're going to have on their lives.
Jessica, tell me about lessons. Tell me about what have you learned from her?
Oh my gosh, millions of things. I mean, everything I know in life must be from my mom. I don't want to say everything because, of course, my father will be offended. But so many things in life I've learned from her. From example, really, the number one thing I've learned from her is about resilience and that you can do anything you set your mind to doing. So when I say my mom can move mountains, I really believe it and know it and have seen her do it. I mean, she can do anything that she wants to because she doesn't limit herself to looking at just the options on the table. If there's no way to get something done, she will figure out a way to go outside the box and look at it from a different perspective and find new options to put on that table to get it done. So really, one of the key lessons I've brought with me in life is that there's always an exception to every rule, and you need to ask for the exception and look for the exception. And that's sort of just a philosophy in life that I've developed just from watching my mom and how she deals with things. And when it seems like there's no hope to something or there's no solution to something, if you just keep looking for it, you will find the key that will open that door. Another thing that I've really brought with me my entire life that directly my mother has taught me has been that you need to will in what you want to happen. So it's really important in life to be thinking about what you want, visualizing it, really setting your mind to a goal. And it can be something huge that you don't think you're going to be able to accomplish. That's actually better because my mom believes you really can accomplish it if you can just see it. There's a great Disney quote that I love that he says, if you can see it, you can do it. And my mom really embodies that. She thinks if you want something enough, just will it in. You know, if you have your focus on it, if you are thinking about it all the time, your brain will figure out how to make it happen, is what she says. And I've seen that happen over and over again in my life and my mom's life. I'm amazed at how many times she's been proven right with that sentence.
Oh, wow. That's beautiful. I wrote down a beautiful lesson about decisions. Do you want me to remind you? It said, if you make ordinary decisions, you will have an ordinary life. I love this one.
My mom told me this once when I was young, and I wonder if she remembers telling me this because that's the primary example she's really set for me in life is by, as I said, looking outside the box and not trying to live an ordinary life. You know, who says to their daughter, do you want to go to New York today and we just take a drive there for fun to go get some lunch? I mean, she really embodies that. And she told me that one time when I was young, when I was trying to decide what I was going to do, probably around that college age. And when I'm most impressionable, when we all are most impressionable. And she said to me that one day, she says, if you make ordinary decisions, you will live an ordinary life. So I think part of that is about taking risks. And my mom is a risk taker. She will see a potential reward. She's not scared to take that risk because she's not scared of losing. You know, she plays to win. There's a great lesson. I was in a movie once, they were talking about playing poker and how you're either playing not to lose or you're playing to win. And my mom has that mentality. She's not afraid to lose things like maybe stability or, you know, to make a bad decision. She's willing to go for it to get a big reward at the end of the day, whether that reward is to change your career or, you know, create something that you really love and follow your passions in life. Those are the type of things that she goes after. And that's really what she taught me. If you make ordinary decisions, you're just going to live an ordinary life. You're limited to that. So I've tried my best to really trust my instincts, trust my passions, and try to live a more extraordinary life with the example set by my mother.
I love that lesson.
Me too.
Do you have more you'd like to share?
There's so many lessons in my life I've learned from my mother. I'm trying to think of sort of how to summarize so many of them.
I have courage. I also wrote down courage to take on a new challenge.
Yes. That's really goes back to that piece about not being afraid to try to live an extraordinary life.
Yes.
She sets her goals so high, and she's actually continuously in life. She tries to tell me that I need to raise up my expectations and my goals. So one day she told me the other day, a month ago, maybe, I was in the car and she said, "What do you want?" And I said, I don't know. A few things, not much. And she says, "Well, I want a yacht." And I'm like, "Well, I don't need a yacht. I don't want a yacht." And she's like, "Why?" She's like, "Set your expectations there because that's where your brain is going to go. That's where your mind is going to go." So I think she has a great mentality of just aiming really high, looking for an extraordinary life. And my father had a great lesson that he always taught me in life which was when you aim for the stars, if you fail, you're going to fall on the moon. So I think both my parents coming together really taught me these lessons, and they do go hand in hand. So a lot of the lessons that I was taught by my mother, my father reinforced, and a lot of the lessons I was taught by my father, my mother reinforced because I had them both. They were both so active in my life. So both of them have really taught me that mindset of resilience and about reaching for your dreams. And my mother, because I'm so close with her, she's just inspired me so much for that.
I have a wonderful saying which I saw somewhere on a billboard, which said, "Only set the bar low for limbo." Isn't that great?
Oh,
That's
I love
exactly
that.
what it is.
Yes. No, absolutely. That's true of anything in life because it's not really even about measuring success with a monetary value. It's just about reaching for what's going to make you happiest. So I think that's even the bigger lesson from my mom. So, it's not just about that yacht, but it's about, do you want to be reaching for your dreams and working on a project that you're passionate about that's going to give you the life you want? Or do you want to be afraid to take those chances and those leaps and just sort of settle for the status quo, as you said? Do you want to set that bar low? Because that's what you're going to get is something that's meeting low expectations.
Jessica, was there anything you wish she had taught you? Was there anything you had to learn by yourself?
Well, of course, there's certain lessons that I think we can always learn from our mothers. As much as we try our hardest, there's always things that our children can learn from us. So my mother is really, I'm trying to think of another word for it. She's die hard for us kids. She'll do anything for us. And one of the things that both my parents did, because they both were so active in our lives and love us so much and were there for us, for me and my sisters, is they really suffered in their relationship. And it was no secret that they were unhappy in their relationship and their marriage, but they really stayed in that relationship for so long, for so many years, for decades. And that was to best serve us as a family and for us as children. They wanted to give us that support and not have us go through, the turmoil of a breakup and a divorce and everything like that and being separated from them. So they made sacrifices of themselves for their own happiness in order to keep our family intact and to do what was right for us that they thought at the time. But looking back, I can see how unhappy they were. And my mother specifically, she was so unhappy in the relationship. And it's not that it's either one of their faults. It's not that it was my mother's fault, my father's fault. But I think for so many reasons, sometimes you need to just let go and move on. And that can be the healthiest thing to do. So I've realized that in my own relationship. So for me, I followed a similar path. I got married young. I then, I knew for so many years that I needed to make a change and I needed to walk away from that relationship. But I had witnessed my mother not give up and stay in that marriage and make sacrifices of her happiness and keep trying and keep going. And I think that where she was trying to teach me not to walk away, I learned that lesson a little bit too much. She was trying to avoid teaching us how to just leave a relationship and she wanted to teach us how to stick with something. But I think that I overlearned that lesson because in my relationship, I just sort of kept digging myself into a bigger hole. And I stayed for years and years and years thinking I could fix it. But at a certain point, I saw a quote that said, if you're digging yourself in a hole, just get out of that hole. And it seems like a simple quote, but for me, I have the mindset of I never want to give up and I never want to fail. So for me to get out of that hole and stop digging, in my mind, equated to a failure. And a lot of that has to do with the example my mother set because she never gives up and she never likes to fail in anything. So at some point, you have to recognize what's important and put yourself first. And you have to be willing to not be selfish, but you have to be willing to say, it's important for me to put myself first as a mother because that's going to set the right example for my children. And that's also part of the premise that that made me want to create Stay Calm Mom, because we do sacrifice of ourselves all the time as mothers and as women, thinking that we're doing the right thing for someone else or for our children. But really, if we put ourselves first more often, I want to say all the time, but I'm willing to concede and say more often. If we do that, then we're setting the best example for our children and we're raising them to be as strong as they can be.
This is so beautiful because it circled us back to the beginning.
That's how life is. That's how life is.
Yeah, it circled us back to Stay Calm Mom.
Well, I think that's how a lot of things in life is because, we are who we are and all the choices we make, I think, are a representation of who we are. So that's why it's important to be true to ourselves and make choices that feel right to us and trust our intuition. Because like you said, I'm explaining all of this in the relationship I have with my mother, and it comes back to my passions in life because she inspired those passions. So everything we are this way for a reason from all of the experiences we have gone through. And one of the things I've learned over the last 2 years, and I'm trying to spread this message out there with Stay Calm Mom, is all of your experiences that you go through in life and all of your struggles, all of your blessings, everything that has happened to you, it's all about your perception and how you're interpreting all these experiences that decides if you're going to let those experiences break you or those experiences build you in life. We are a creation of everything that's happened to us. So when we're looking at our lives as a victim or with excuses or by not being proactive in our own happiness, then we're allowing those experiences to break us. Whereas if we flip the lens and we look at our life with a perspective of growth and saying it's okay to fail and it's okay to learn and looking for inspiration and valuing ourselves, and in turn, we're filling our lives with relationships of people that are valuing us, that's when we start to allow ourselves to be built by our experiences instead of broken.
Beautiful. Thank you, Jessica.
Thank you so much, Anna.
Let me just try to recap the lessons we learned from Mama Donna. The first lesson I have written here is if you make ordinary decisions, you'll have an ordinary life. Then we have you need to will in what you wish for.
My mom's favorite sentence of the world.
I have resilience and courage to take on new challenge. Believing that you can do anything you set your mind to. I also wrote down while you were talking, thinking out of the box, and there's always an exception to every rule to raise your expectations and your goals. And as something you wish you learned from her is you put it as how much of your happiness do you sacrifice for the greater good. I also wrote next to it, put yourself first, especially as a mother.
Yes, it's so important.
Did I miss anything?
Really, another thing that we touched on that I has been a key learning that she's passed on to me is the importance of kindness. And she tries to spread that in her children's books. And she is all about kindness. One thing she says to me, and she encourages me to say this to my son and to my stepdaughter is, she used to say to me when I was a kid, where are you good? Where are you kind? And she would have us say, in our hearts. And that's really who my mother is. She's so kind. One day on one of our New York trips, and this wasn't when we were young, this was as an adult. This was actually when I was going through my breakup and I was devastated and she was trying to distract me from, the horror that was going on. we went to New York for 2 days with my son. She was trying to sort of get me out of the mindset of everything's going to be horrible and sort of turn things around to there is hope. And if you make a change, you could be happier, sort of a thing, and encourage me. So we went to New York since it's one of our favorite spots. And there was a homeless man outside, and she had walked by and she turned around and she went back and she had given him some money. And she said to him, change your life, make your life good, do something good, change your life. And it was just the way she took an extra moment to tell him so genuinely to change his life and try to give him some encouragement. That's who my mom is. She's not only going to turn back around and try to give him the dollar, even if she doesn't have it, she would do it. But she's going to take that extra time to encourage you and to inspire you because she believes in kindness. And that's the number one thing she taught me in life was kindness. And I'm trying to spread that to both my children.
Thank you, Jessica. Thank you again for sharing these awesome lessons.
Thank you.
And congratulations on your new journey.
Thank you so much. I'm really happy to be here. It's been a long time coming. So whatever happened on this journey to bring me here, I'm so glad it did because I'm really happy with where I'm at. And I hope that some of my mom's lessons have inspired mothers and women out there. And I hope the message of kindness is one that we can keep spreading with Stay Calm Mom as well.
Yes. Thank you, Jessica.
Thank you so much, Anna, for having me. It's been a pleasure.
If you enjoy Thank You Mama and want to help it grow, please take the 2 seconds to leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. It really helps. If you'd like to get in touch, you can send me a mail at info@thankyouMama.net. You can also find me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter under Anna Teider, that's Tajder. This was Thank You Mama. Come back next week, subscribe, and tell your friends.